Hello and welcome back to this channel. On today's episode of the JR Real Estate Show, we're going to show you exactly what to do whilst or during the purchase of a piece of land in Nigeria, or a piece of property in Nigeria, so that you don't make mistakes. Remember clearly, on the last two episodes, we tried to show you what to do, how to search, and how to do a proper due diligence on a piece of property. And in today's episode, we're actually going to take it a step further to show you how to actually purchase a piece of property or a piece of property, yes, right here in Nigeria. Stay tuned. Right, welcome back. I'm Jeff Anaze and I'm your favorite real estate consultant right here in Nigeria. And my colleague Raymond Ijeomah, who is a property lawyer as well as a real estate entrepreneur, is going to be the one handling us on today's show, on today's episode. And he's going to be showing you exactly what to do in order to make a safe and profitable purchase. So we're going to be switching over to Raymond Ijeomah as he walks us through this show. If you're new on this channel, please hit that subscribe button and like this video so that you get to be notified whenever we bring out such educative, informative videos like this. So go ahead and share this video with as many people as possible as you listen attentively to today's episode of the show.
Yeah. Thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate you. Yeah, it's another day on the JR Real Estate Show, and we are super excited about what we intend sharing with you today. And as a matter of fact, we already started this series, and it's a series that you don't want to miss any episode of it. And flowing from what we discussed in the last two episodes, I mean, Jeff did an amazing work with the first episode, and then I added a few stuff in the second episode. And again today, I am about sharing what you would need to do. I really need to walk you through what you have to do after you have done your property investigation as well as title document. But today, I'm going to go straight to the point and hit the nail on the head. After you have investigated the property and you have checked out the title document, you have checked out the property itself, you've visited it, and you are satisfied, what then do you do, right? And I need to quickly say at this point that it's really important. It has been the practice in Nigeria. It has largely been the practice in Nigeria. I could boldly say that 80%, 85 or 90% of the transactions that exist in Nigeria, the people who buy the properties do their own thing and then proceed to look for a lawyer to do documentation. By that I mean the lawyer was never carried alongside in the course of the transaction, the investigation, or the following up on the property. So the lawyer only comes in or becomes relevant only at the point where there is need to carry out documentation. But then again, let me say one or two things, and I'll leave you to decide whether I think it's important to carry a lawyer alongside or not. Alright, so we have been clamoring that you do property investigation. Yes, it's possible that you could follow up on the property, check it out. Is it good? Is it not good? Is the location good? You possibly can do all that by yourself. But what about the title document that was prepared by a lawyer? How do you ascertain that a title document is good? A title document that was prepared by a lawyer, how do you ascertain that it is good or it is genuine or everything is right if you do not carry a lawyer alongside? I mean, you could be literate, you could be enlightened, educated, but then a lawyer's work is a lawyer's work. I say, for instance, you talk about, in the last episode, I talked about covenants running with the land. What are covenants running with the land? You may not have an idea. You may not be able to see it or pick it out when you see it in the title document. What about if there are issues in the recital? I remember vividly during the pandemic, a man in his 30s walked into my office and he was he had done his investigation, and he came for documentation, and he brought the title documents, but about 2 of them or 3 of them or so. And I looked through and I asked him how many persons had bought this property previously, and he said according to the seller he would be number 4 on the list. According to the seller, he would be number 4 on the list, and apparently I checked it out and he agrees that he would be number 4 on the list of those who had bought the property. And I looked through again, and I'm like, nah, from what I'm seeing here, you are going to be at least number 6 on the list. You're going to be at least number 6. And I was like, he wanted to argue, and I insisted that he should ask the seller certain questions, follow up on the seller. As a matter of fact, there was no trace to the person who bought first. So I insisted that he should ask the seller certain questions. When especially the last person who was reflecting on the reciter. And eventually he came back a week. I actually forgot about the transaction. I thought it was over with. And I remember he made a very important phrase. He said, if the seller is not able to satisfy him with these questions that I've raised, that he's just dropped that, because thankfully he hadn't paid. That was a smart move, because that's another problem that sellers make over here. You make payment when you are not even satisfied, and it's an important rule of real estate investment that we have talked about on this show. You do not make payment. You do not make payments to anyone until you are satisfied. And as a matter of fact, the payment is supposed to be made when all parties are ready, willing, and available to sign, to execute your title documents. That is when you make payment, right? So it makes no sense. It doesn't work. Maybe it could make sense normally, but in the real estate business, if you are exchanging cash for a property, then you should make sure that you are satisfied with what you are getting. You're not purchasing it online. It's not like you are ordering on Jumia or something, and you make payment and you do delivery. No, this is real estate, right? This is real estate. It has to be as real as possible. All right. Okay. So, point is, do not make payment. You have to be absolutely satisfied. And one of the things that should sponsor your satisfaction is that you have done your due diligence. And one of the persons that should really be involved in the due diligence journey is a lawyer, right? So let me go back to the story so I'll move on as fast as possible. So eventually, he came back a week later and he brought 2 extra documents. I was like, oh wow, that was good. I looked through and I realized that from the 2 extra documents he brought, he would be number 8 on the list of persons who had bought that property in the past. And that was a big deal. The fact that he could not, in fact, the only person that had trace to the first person that bought that property is the second buyer. Every other person and every other lawyer that prepared the title document in the past, up to the 7th person, did not have a trace back to the first person that bought the land, and also did not have a trace back to the 3rd or 4th person that bought the land also. So two people were missing in the link. The first person, which is the most important and very most important person in the list of transaction or in the chain of transaction, wasn't on the list, right? And that was a big deal, because peradventure that land had become a subject matter of dispute, there wouldn't be a trace to the root person, the first person and that could seriously affect the what is it called? Seriously affects evidence as per proving title, proving root of title and all of that. And really, in fact, the client at the end, after I finished everything, he particularly was very grateful and appreciated me especially. And I also felt excited knowing that I'd prevented problem for him. So imagine that I was just that kind of lawyer that okay, get the document done. Oh, that reminds me, I had this sometime last year as well, maybe late last year or so. A colleague of mine reached out and it was like, okay, he needed clarification on a recital, how to go about it, sorting it out basically. And in the course of having that conversation, I raised a couple of questions that would help with him doing the recital the way he should. And eventually, the questions were raising doubts as per the transaction. The questions were poking hole in the transaction. So the questions eventually was leading to or drawing to the fact that the transaction was either fraudulent or something serious was missing that could lead to a problem in the future. And eventually, he made a statement in the course of me raising those investigative questions, and his statement was, the genuineness of the property is not my concern. The genuineness of the property is not my concern. I wasn't surprised, because in the course of doing property documentation, I'd seen that attitude reflect in so many title documents. I wasn't surprised, but I was shocked. I wasn't happy about it, and the truth about it is that is the attitude of so many people. This is not to derogate the legal profession or to talk down on anybody, right? But it is the attitude of some lawyers. Let me use some lawyers. It's the attitude of some lawyers to transactions like this. And I don't know who to blame, but if you have received payment, if you are supposed to receive 100,000 naira and you end up receiving 20,000 naira for the transaction, then you should do it the way you should do it, not because you are paid less. If you're going to demand for more to do the right thing, then demand for more and do the right thing. If the client doesn't have the capacity to pay for more, then it's better you either not take it or take it and do it the way you should, right? So, I mean, that did not make any sense, and I talked him out of it, and eventually he did right, and I realized that actually something must be done, because the person who was selling the property, who was fronting to sell the property, wasn't the right person that shit, because title was not possessing him. And if I hadn't brought up such questions that leads to the interrogation of this person, it wouldn't have been able to do the right thing, and the property would have been a bad sale, a bad buy, right? And these are the reasons. There are a lot of stories are coming to my head, and we're already 12 minutes into time. One more, just to explain the importance of you carrying a lawyer alongside. I did early this year. I did this transaction that. In fact, I didn't do the transaction because the transaction up to today had not put through. What happened was I had a client who made payments for a property and then reached out to me for documentation. And I got the title documents and I looked at it and I was like, okay, who is the person? Because there was a name there was a name on the title document. So I asked, who is this person and who did you make payments to? He said he made payments to another person, and the person he made payment to was totally different from the person that was seen on the title document. And I asked if he knew the person, if he knew the person on the title document, or he knew the person whose name is on the title document, and he said he didn't know. And I asked to speak to the person he made payment to. And to cut a very long story short, in the course of investigating or asking certain direct questions, he admitted that the person who was on the title document was dead, and that after his death, the property, the family shared the man's property, the old man's property, and this was his share. And I was like, okay, good, no doubt about that. But if you are going to sell competently to my client, then the family would have to prepare something like a deed of allocation, a deed of sharing to you, and then from you to my client. Because you can't receive payment for a land and then title is in another person's name. What gives you the right to sell? Fine, it is customary that families could share their land, but then, or in the 21st century, and to a large extent, you just have to have documentary proof for anything you are saying. Peradventure anything goes to court, I know by now you should have accepted, or you should have known that I am very particular about 20 years time, 50 years time, 100 years time, right, as far as property documentation or property transactions are concerned, right? So eventually he like, okay, what do we do? So I told him straight up that I could even help prepare a deed of allocation, or a deed of confirmation, or a deed of sharing between the family headers, the present family headers, the head of the family, to you. Because there are a lot of cases that have gone to court because of this. Because the truth about customs is, once this person joins issue with another person, then the person who has documentary proof of that transaction takes a edge, because civil cases, land cases under civil cases are won on the preponderance of evidence. The person whose evidence is stronger wins at the end of the day. So it makes sense, the right thing to do at every point, whether it's family that gave it to you, it's a gift, or is it anything, is that you should have title document. You should have title document, no matter how close the person is to you, right? So I'm trying to hurry so that I'll just drive the point home. So eventually, I told him I could help prepare, but he said no, he will get his lawyer to do it. That was 2 months ago or 3 months ago, already in May. Till date, that transaction is still hanging. It is still hanging. Almost story. Okay, no more story. The point is, do not make payment until you are satisfied and the parties are willing, available, and ready immediately to sign the title document. Number 2, carry a lawyer alongside. Really, I strongly believe that is important to your transaction. There are so many stories in my head to portray this, but I'll just talk about one more. And that was a property I was helping clients to get, and the property was good. Physical investigation was good, but upon bringing the title document, which I requested for, I realized that something serious was missing. And if they had given me that property for way less than the actual amount, I wouldn't take it, to show how important the title document is. So imagine that my client had made payments after being satisfied with the physical investigation and ignored the title document investigation. Then that would be a problem. You start begging or looking for how to beg the client to refund the money that he had paid because something had gone wrong. Or what about this transaction I'm presently doing in Delta? Still the same thing. Till date, they've not made payment. They've made payments already, but the people are yet to sign. What the reason is, we don't know. Now the buyers are begging the sellers to either refund their money or sign the title document. So these problems are bound. So it's in your right interest to not make payment till you're satisfied the parties are available, willing, and ready to sign. And moving forward, carry a lawyer alongside. That's also important. And moving forward, if you're paying cash, if you're making part payment, then of course you have to pay attention to do either you prepare a receipt separately, or evidencing the fact that it's a part payment, or you could insert a clause in the title document. And then it leads to another issue. What happens if the party who What happens if the parties eventually do not complete their payments? Those are legal issues, and it is a lawyer that would help you to resolve all of that, right? So moving forward, so I do not take so much time here because we intend rounding it off in 30 minutes. Now, I've said you should carry a lawyer alongside. I've also said that you should if the person is making part payments, ensure that there's a separate receipt, or that should be inserted in a clause. And then importantly, if there should be another clause that would help you in case the condition of fulfilling the part payment is not, the condition of part payment is not fulfilled. If it's not fulfilled, then something should be done about it. The writing should be done about it. That's a legal issue. And then do not receive cash payment. Do not make cash payments, rather. Let your payment be made via transfer. And if it's a transfer via your bank app, let the description be for the purpose of purchasing a land from so and so, or a description of the land, or let's just exhaust the number of words that the description part can take for the land. If it's a deposit, let it be in purpose of your, write it down in your teller, right? So that would also help to corroborate your transaction. And if it's possible, keep your teller, attach it to your title document, and just be sure that you the idea is keep as many documentary evidence that you can. That is the idea. All right, so that's that for that. And then moving forward, I'd like to say that when you are done with the execution, and please pay attention, this also is a reason you should carry a lawyer alongside. For instance, it's a proxy transaction. A proxy transaction is a kind of transaction where it is not the person whose title is evidence, so he bought through somebody. So if the person bought through somebody, then there should be a letter of authority from the person who really owns it to the person who he bought through, right? So that would be done the right way. I mean, the topic of this episode is how to buy property the right way, and this is just a summary. Sincerely, this is just a summary, because we go through, or we get to experience different scenarios. We get different stories, different transactions help us get different lessons to share with you. And if you notice, I'm really trying to be as fast as possible and limiting the stories, because the stories would help you to know the right things to do. So in summary, ensure that you do these things I have said, and then adding to that, try to keep your original documents intact. Usually three copies are printed, depending on the number of the parties. 3 copies are printed. The original goes to the buyer, not the seller. The original title document goes to the buyer. A photocopy goes to the seller. While another copy is kept, I usually keep a copy for all transactions. While a copy goes to the lawyer, right? And if you're going to process a C of O, Jeff will talk about that. If you're going to process a C of O, then you have to prepare more copies much later. But focusing on during the execution stage, you have to keep your title document safe. And this is a brief advice for those living in the diaspora. When you are in the diaspora and you are buying a property in Nigeria, then I'm going to say this with so much respect for your family members, so much respect for your relations, so much respect for your friends. I'm not thinking this time around. I'm strongly advising that when your brothers or relations help you to purchase properties in Nigeria, let them send through DHL, through any means whatsoever. Send the original documents to you. Now, I've written a book on that, on how to purchase property the right way from the diaspora, and I titled that book "Stop Wasting Your Hard-Earned Dollar in Nigeria." And the essence of that book is to help you make purchase the right way. I get to hear, just like I'm struggling with a lot of story right now. I get to hear stories of how relations, friends, and even some fake companies or fake agents make a mess of people's properties, transactions, real estate transactions in Nigeria because they are in the diaspora. And I have shared in that book a number of things that you can do to stop or prevent that from happening. And the book is on Amazon, right? It's on Amazon, and I'd possibly share a link in this video for you to have access to the book, right? And just to add, there are certain ways that you can go out of that issue, and one of which is streamlining to today's conversation, because one of the days we'll talk specifically about that, addressing that issue for clients in the diaspora. And one of it is hold your title, original title document, and if you can, don't let anyone keep photocopy, because they could use a photocopy, lie to the seller that the buyer that, oh, we've lost the original documents. And also that brings to play a lawyer, because if you bring such to me and you're saying that, oh, the title document is missing, then I'm going to have you prepare an affidavit to that effect, or get a police extract showing that title document, the original title document, is missing. Now, some clients, in fact, when you are representing such clients in that manner, they'll be like, oh, you did overdo, or you, I don't know. But really, a client really helps the lawyer to do the right things, quite sincerely. But then and again, the point is, keep your title documents to yourself. Keep it as safe as possible. Do not allow anyone have access to them except they are absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. What else am I going to talk about? What else? Exchange your title documents. I think that's basically all. We're ready. If there's anything we would continue in subsequent episodes, I think I'll leave Jeff to talk about perfection, and if there's any need, I'll add something to that. Thank you so much again. My name is Raymond Ijeomah, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur. I help solve real estate problems, prevent them where they are possible, and then of course help you secure and ensure that you do the right thing, be smart, and of course become, at the end of the day, a real estate, a millionaire.
Wow. Thank you so much, Raymond Ijeomah, for such enlightened show. Of course, I hope you got value, and I'm sure you got value. Alright, so please go ahead and like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed to our returning subscribers. Thank you so much for always being here. Of course, help us share this video so as many people as possible to get informed and know what to do whilst they're buying a property in Nigeria. Till we come your way next time, I'm Jeff and my colleague Barrister Raymond. Our goal is to help you make safe and profitable real estate investments in Nigeria. If you buy from us, of course, we get a commission. Alright, otherwise we'll be here to give you this type of information from time to time. If you have any question at all, please leave it in the comments box. If you have topics you'd like to suggest us to discuss, please leave them also in the comments box, and we'll get on them as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.